The A90 Supra in the Crew Motorfest. It's been notoriously difficult to get Toyota to agree on being in a game, but it's in the Crew Motorfest with some crazy customization. Let's get to it. Now, since this is the first video on the Crew Motorfest when it comes to customization, car, driving, handling, they have changed so much since every time I've played this game. This handling model, I'm gonna say, is probably one of my favorite I've played in a really long time. Anyway, the process of buying a car, very similar to the Crew 2. You go through the menus and you can purchase the car. The A90 Supra, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna of course let you have a little bit of a listen, have a look at this beautiful model. You already know. This sounds okay. To be fair, the actual Supra sound is a little bit muffled, and this is pre-upgrades. Maybe it'll change. Nonetheless, straight away, you can see the handling is so much more in-depth than it was previously. Sliding around, and this is with everything set as standard. Nothing's really been played around with yet, but we will get into the tuning a little bit later because it's here. And the electronic stability is still on. You can see the traction control, ABS, in the bottom of the screen. Cockpit view, oh my god, the hand movements, my friends, I might have to like do a whole dedicated thing to this because it feels great that the way the hands are moving, it throws me back to Driver San Francisco, which is one of the best when it comes to the hand movements. But you know what, I'm feeling a little bit of Driver San Francisco flavor on this. It is a Ubisoft game, and therefore there's some links there, there's some ties. And if you want to see this drive stock, what the heck do you think this is? Customization. So from what I've seen thus far of the builds, the customization is only accessible through the pause menu. It's a little bit different to how it was in the Crew 2 because you had the option of going to the house or you had the option of doing it here. Now, I don't know yet. I've not really played that much of the game, but the customization is very similar to previously. It looks like we can upgrade cars a lot more than previously, but maybe we get thrown parts that are a bigger jump. Maybe the number's just different. Anyway, so you've got your official paints. We're gonna go through all the customizations to show you exactly what you can expect. The standard paints, the metallics, the chrome, the mattes, the anodized, the iridescence, they all return. And blue on the Supra, Toyota even knows themselves, it's like the best color. There's something about a sports car in blue. It's like the opposite of red. I know, red also works. Like, you got the matte colors, which are a lot less reflective. I don't tend to go for those. We've got the anodized, which are a bit much. Too far each way is a no-no from me. Iridescent, which is, they definitely need to add more iridescence because the iridescence, I think, are super, super sick. Anyway, jumping into the part you are interested in is the visual part customization. Let's see what this thing's got to offer. So, in case you don't know, this has been out a while now. Some customization is out there. There's a lot of customization. In fact, there's a Liberty Walk kit available in the game, but you have to have the specific Liberty Walk version. This one is not. This is the standard, but it looks sick. This bumper option right here looks awesome. A wide body is available for it. So even if you don't get the Liberty Walk version, don't worry, my friends. There's some mad ones. Did notice the wheels, there's only 3 options on the Supra. That's probably not correct because even on Lamborghinis I could change the wheel type. So that's probably not final. Probably a little bit of a oops, we missed that. Side skirt customization. Mwah. Beautiful. We've got fenders on the rear. Thank you very much. And I noticed something it says official on there, but it says official on all the bits. So apparently Toyota built all these bits. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. I don't actually know. But a huge wang on the A90 Supra. And that's not even my favorite customization piece. Right? That's wild to say. It's not my favorite. The diffuser is some kind of a weak point of the car to me. Okay? They change it. Not only do you get the option of single tip, you can go for dual tip. There's 18 options. You can change the rear lights, make them look cooler. You can go for something. It looks more expensive as soon as you put a nicer diffuser on the Supra. And there's quite a few options for you to go for. My favorite one, actually, I couldn't decide for a while. It's like back and forth. I don't know what to pick. This option here is the one that I decided to go for. Just completely changes it. This crazy interior customization, by the way, I say crazy. It's the same as the Crew 2. However, you can't have a fully red interior on your Supra. I had a red interior. It's just a little bit. So I chose the official, but you could not. You can get rid of the pleather too and go for some, what would you call Alcantara? Now there's something I noticed in here in the vanity. So the vanity is usually the underglow and the thing on the roof. That customization will be available. I just didn't have any. But I noticed audio signature. Isn't that what Need for Speed Unbound has? That's like a very similar thing. Anyway, this Supra looks amazing, but we're not done. That's kind of where the customization ended previously. The Pro tuning is here. This is huge. This is only one part of the tuning because you can do your like individual settings as well. Ultimately, this is more car focused. If you're a player of the Crew 2 or even the Crew 1, you'll notice you could actually, in the Crew 2, change how the car works. You could change the grip and a few things like suspension and such, but you were doing more of the physics of the game rather than like actually tuning a car by car settings. This time they are car specific. So it's got brake balance, brake power, the aero load, it's got suspension, spring, front, rear. You've got more car settings. And I decided straight away the best thing I could possibly do is throw all the grip away in the bin. I did notice there is the ability to do camber. However, I didn't notice any visible change when I actually did the camber. It seemed to be about the same no matter where I put it. It does have a handling effect, but I didn't notice a visual one. Then again, I didn't have a fully upgraded Supra. As you upgrade in the Crew, like the suspension, that's when your suspension drops as well a little bit, I noticed. But on the outside, it always looks a little bit different than on the menu. Anywho, what do you think? I think this is some of the best Supra customization we've had in a game, and instantly go in for a little bit of a slide. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Traction control is still on at this point, and ESP is still on. So it does this weird crabbing where I'm like, I need to stop. But it kind of it wants to keep going. Like it's trying to traction control, but I'm like, no, we've got no grip. You can't control anything. I pulled it all from the rear, no grip. I mean, okay, we had 70% grip is essentially what you can do. So then you go to the options and you have the ability to then play with your difficulty is what it is. So you can have the rewind option turned off there. You can force cockpit view, ABS, traction control, ESP, drift assist, counter steer, and there's also like airplane assist options. There's a lot of options here that essentially make the game easier or more difficult. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I really do prefer the game with traction control off and ESP off. Back in the early days of the Crew 2, there was a couple of issues with the electronic stability management. That's essentially what it was. I think it might have been named something a little bit different, but it was sometimes trying to fight you to wobble. The car would begin to wobble at high speeds and become really, really difficult to control. So now what we've got is a grip all the way off, traction control off, ESP off, basically everything but ABS, because there's no point really in turning ABS off in my opinion, especially in an arcade racing game. Though it would be pretty cool in the older race cars to do it per car. Whatever. So now we are in full slide mode without any performance upgrades. So this is a stock Supra attempting to do some slides and skidding around, but it's doing a very, very good job of it. Still losing the control. Like I can't grip up with drift cars. You'd be surprised. Grippy tires are kind of helpful. I also haven't upgraded the tires because I don't have them. This is early as it gets. We're just throwing visual customization onto an A90 and turning everything off and going a little bit crazy. As you can see, the brakes work very well, but the grip on the tires is fighting against me. You are toying with physics, okay? That's one thing that it's still toying with, like the physics of the game, I feel, rather than the car. But nonetheless, the fact that you could do this is so sick. You know, the A90 Supra is not a new car by any means now. It's been out for a while. They're really common. I've owned one and sold one, but something about this car just excites me in the, you know, we've got a modern sports car that's tunable, focused. We may have already hit the limits and got through it very quickly, but you know what? is that an issue? It's still cool. But yeah, for those that have played the Crew 2, you can already see there is so much more depth to how the game feels. So I actually went back into the menu and decided to turn the camera all the way down this time to see if there was any difference, again, for demonstration purposes. Back into the game, and as you can see, there's really no visible difference now than there was previously. But again, is there a feel difference? And I would say so. It it definitely felt a little different than it was previously. If anything, it is a little bit less control. So I changed it back. That was the end of my testing. Hell to the no, he said. This time I decided to fix everything, sort it out. The transmission I still left on long because you do actually lose a lot of speed. Wasn't really building a drift car at this point, which is something interesting. In the Crew 2, they were like drift specific, like there were specs for cars. I don't really know if I've paid that much attention yet, but I don't know if there's any drift specific stuff here. I'll have to wait and find out, but ultimately I wasn't really seeing that. When I purchased the car, it seemed like there was just one option of it. There wasn't like a million different ones. You'll notice on the car list video, that'll do, you're welcome. But I was so impressed with the handling and how it's changed. You would have seen, you know, there's been the tests that have been running for a while. Seeing the improvements, even from the beginning of these tests to now, it just kind of blows my mind a little bit. So I did kind of dial in settings that I really did enjoy. I thought a good balance was actually having the drift assist on sport. Now, again, this is pre-upgrades right now, but the drift assist kind of just, it just made it a little bit easier to hold it. The problem I kept having, at the end of it, I didn't really have the steering angle to kind of push my car into that angle. But now, it just kind of controlled super nicely. So you've got so many options to change, play around with, to get the feel that you really want. And again, this is pre me using the drift cars, if there are any. I haven't seen any yet. The Crew is an arcade racing game, and it's solidified in that. And I love that. Arcade racing games are the best. They're fun. They're focused. And now I feel like the cockpit view matches up with the exterior view for excitement. In fact, I think the cockpit view might be more exciting. They've done it. What game in the longest time has done that? I don't know. Get your traffic out the way. That was a good slide. How dare you? Beautiful. Mwah. Fantastico. Mwah. The drift assist makes you look like you know what you're doing. I wonder what the comfort drift assist will do. This is the sport one, so it allows a little bit more leeway, I'm guessing a little bit more control. But if you do the comfort, normally in comfort controls in a car, you're not drifting. That's the point. It's like, it's just a little bit more relaxed, I guess. No, it'd be comfort. It'd be floating around. Bubbling suspension. You know, like those Lexuses that managed to jump, but that suspension didn't become a thing. I like that. However, that is not the case. I imagine you still need to slide, right? What we'll be telling is when we get into the drift car specifically, playing with these settings, if the drift car specifically exists, I don't actually know, I've not seen one, but if the Drift Evo exists or so on, like they do in the Crew 2, how will these settings play with those cars, considering these cars are already sliding? To what level of sliding we gonna do with something else? Oh, that was beautiful. Anyway, there you go. First look at the Crew Motorfest in terms of customization. What a stunning game this is. This is just 1080p. This was on a remote capture system. So I'm very curious what we're going to see when we get this thing to 4K, 60 and plus. You put the window up. Did you see that? Anyway, I'm going to be posting a lot of this over the next few days. Make sure you do subscribe and check out this video if you're into the Crew Motorfest. Smash like, subscribe, and peace.